Preston Leinenbach with OttersTV, with the pleasure of being joined by former Evansville Otter Denver Stuckey. Denver, I really do appreciate the time, and thank you for joining us here.
Oh, absolutely. I've been looking forward to it all week after you reached out to me.
Talking about a little bit about your career. You were with the Otters from 2003 to 2005, probably one of the more well-known players during that time. But going back before even the Otters days, you played at SEMO, a small mid-major school. So how did you really go through the process of going from college baseball and getting that first opportunity to play in professional baseball?
Well, it was kind of a whirlwind of events. I had a pretty successful college career and had a couple major league teams tell me that they had turned me in to be drafted. And of course, that didn't happen. And I was playing for I guess you'd say a semi-pro team, kind of a collegiate league, the Kappa Halls out of Cape Girardeau. And the day before I got the call from Evansville, I took a line drive to the face at third base and had a black eye out of this world, and got the call to come, try out at River City, and went to the hospital that morning, got my eye cut open so I could see, drove 2.5 hours to St. Louis, and before I knew it, I was playing for the Otters. So really didn't have much time to do anything other than just, suit up and go.
And who did you receive that call from the Otters? Was it manager Greg Jelks, or was it some of the front office staff?
I believe it was Jeff Pohl, who was the pitching coach at the time. He and oddly enough, he was, I believe, coaching at Three Rivers Community College just down the road where I ended up coaching a few years later. So he kind of had knew me or knew someone that had known me. And I think the Giants were one of the teams that had talked about drafting me, and he had played in the Giants organization. So I think he was the contact, but I really don't remember. It was late on like a Thursday or Friday night, and it just kind of, like I said, it was a whole whirlwind because I was in some pain from being hit in the face.
Now, for you, when some of our fans go and look at some of our statistical records, your name still stands in the top list in a lot of the single season as well as career statistical records. So for you, what was your approach to the game and either out in the field or even at the plate?
I never had a real complex approach with anything. I think I was more of I'm just going to try to play as hard as I can. I knew I wasn't a big power guy, so my job was to get on base, base hits, stuff like that. And I was always really good defensively. I think my first year, I came in half a season in 2003. I played second base. The following year, I think I made majority of my starts at shortstop, and then 2005 was at third base. So I think that's one thing Coach Jelks liked about me was just put me wherever. I'll find a way to make a play, and I don't care where I'm batting in the lineup. My job's still the same. That's to get on base. So I try to keep it as simple as possible.
And for that stretch of time, the Evansville Otters, making consecutive FLCS appearances, championship series appearances, despite not really getting the winning result early on. But for you all to even get to that point consecutively in consecutive years, what do you think was that key to having that consistent success for the squad?
I really think it stemmed from Greg Jelks. He was an ultra competitive guy. He was hard to play for some guys. If you weren't just a tooth and nail competitor, he could rub you the wrong way. He was a big, intimidating guy, and if you didn't toe the line, he'd let you know about it. But we, through transactions, releasing, signing people, we got a group of guys that had that same mentality. And, I don't think we ever finished first in the division, but we got that wild card spot. And I don't know, we were just a tough group of competitors, and just found a way to to get it done when it mattered, except for, like you said, in the championship series, we fell a little short there. But I really think it kind of just funneled down from him. We just never took a day off, never took an at-bat off, and that was a directive from him. You had to face the music with him if you didn't, toe the line, so to speak.
And would you say those specific characteristics, or maybe something that separates him and his style? Obviously, he's passed away since, but from maybe some of the other managers or coaches you had either played for or dealt with?
Kind of. I was very blessed. In college, coaching staff I had there, being able to go to the NCAA regional with SEMO, beating Alabama at Alabama. We had 2 assistant coaches from LSU that played for national championship teams. How they ended up in Cape Girardeau, Missouri is beyond me, but that was just kind of something I was used to. And talking to other guys, because, as you know, in professional baseball, it's kind of a brotherhood. Someone from every team. Either you played against them in college, high school, whatever. You know each other. And just talking to other guys, I had some college teammates that played for Gateway and River City and all that. And you hear about what they were doing, and then you compared it to what we were doing. You kind of realized how, or at least I did, how good we had at Evansville to have not just Jelks. I mean, it was Mr. Bussing, the whole organization. It was, just a great competitive situation where we were expected to win.
Do you stay in touch with some of your former teammates?
Yeah, actually, one of the pitchers from 2003 was in my wedding. I still keep in track with OJ Garza, Andre Simpson. A lot of those guys, we still communicate quite a bit. Then one of the good things about social media is being able to stay in contact with those guys. But yeah, I definitely try to stay in contact with as many of them as you can. That's the one bad thing about professional baseball. It can be so cutthroat that they may be there for a week and gone next. Mm-hmm. But the guys I played with for most of those years, yes, I still keep in contact with and try to see whatever I can.
Yeah, that's one thing that kind of pops up when I talk with other guys and ask them that same question. They say, well, social media has definitely made it easier. And then also, but yeah, like you said earlier, I mean, you basically know somebody from everywhere almost, and guys are all coming and going and all over the United States.
Sure.
So that's something that I think is pretty cool that you all are able to stay in touch, whether it be periodically or every day for some. But I think that's really awesome.
Absolutely, it's you're not just teammates. When you spend so much time on the road, on the bus, hotels, the Frontier League life is not glamorous. You become pretty close. So it goes beyond baseball for sure.
Do you have any favorite memories or moments from your time here in Evansville, either with your teammates, the Otters, or in particular Bosse Field?
Oh, absolutely. A highlight for me at Bosse Field was Stan Musial came in 2004, I believe. And he was given a talk, I believe, on prostate cancer, and he came into the dugout, and I got to go up to him. And me being a Missouri boy, I was like, Mr. Musial, I've had my picture made in front of your statue at Busch Stadium probably 50 times. Would you be okay with me taking a picture? And he sat down next to me, grabbed my hand, took a picture, and talked to me like I was just another friend of his. And I'll never, ever forget that as a Cardinal fan. As far as, with the Otters, in 2004, the Washington Wild Things had a great team, and they had, I think finished probably 5 or 6 games ahead of us in the regular season, and we had to go play them in the playoffs. And I'll never forget this. We had a pitcher named Jeremy Lewis who had a good season, and he made a quote in the Washington Gazette. I don't know what the name of the paper was, and the reporter took it out of context to try to fire up the Wild Things. Jeremy said something like, for whatever reason, they can't hit me. Well, the day before the playoff season started, our playoff series, they had a huge headline in the paper saying, they can't hit me, and to try to fire up the Wild Things. Well, we kind of fired us up. Like, that's bullcrap. He didn't say that. He took it out of context, and we ended up sweeping them. And the game he pitched, he threw like a 3-hit shutout, 1-run game, whatever. And the headline in the paper the next day was "The Truth Hurts." So I got to give the guy credit. He had a pretty good comeback article there. But beating them and getting to go to the championship series for the second year in a row, and just the kind of the celebration we had on their field, that was probably my favorite memory there. But playing at Bosse Field is an honor in itself with all the history, and we always had great crowds. Friday, Saturday nights, you're playing in front of 5,000-6,000 people. Just a real quick funny story. I I coached for a while after my playing career, and I was talking about pressure. And in 2004, the Otters had an agreement with Krispy Kreme Donuts there in town. And if we ever got 12 hits, everybody in the crowd got a coupon for, I don't know if it was a dozen, but an amount of free donuts.
I remember that when I came as a fan. I remember that.
And we were playing Chillicothe one night, and the game went to extra innings. And the guy in front of me, I want to say it's probably Frank Scott, got a base hit, and he was the 11th hit. And I come up to bat, bases loaded, game on the line, and the crowd is just screaming, "Donuts, donuts!" And it didn't really care about who won the game, and I was like 0 for 5 at the time. I'm like, if I don't get a hit here, and they end up winning this game, they'll never cheer for me again. And I was able to get a game-winning hit, but more importantly, I got 5,000 people some donuts, so I think that helped with my popularity a little bit.
Yeah, people certainly love when they get the free stuff. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
The other thing I want to ask you, obviously this year it's been a little bit of a different story, but since your playing days, in your eyes, how has the game changed, if at all, or even the players or athletes that you see on the baseball field?
I think the game's changed immensely. When I talk about my career with friends, family, kids, whatever, I said I was probably sandwiched in between two eras that right when I was playing was this, I guess you'd call it the steroid era. Everyone was big, strong, hitting home runs, and, that's really all it was. And as a third baseman, me being 170 pounds really didn't jump off the page at anyone. But then the money ball era came into play. We're getting on base and defensive, all these advanced metrics you see now. I think I would have been pretty attractive with that type of stuff, but wasn't even heard of back when I played. I'm not a big fan of kind of the home run, strikeout, or bust that they have now. I think it makes the game boring. I've often said if I was commissioner, I would say if 2 of your first 3 batters or 2 of your first 4 batters strike out, your inning's done. Let's get the ball in play and do that. But definitely guys are bigger, faster, and stronger. When I played in the Frontier League, you rarely saw a guy throw above 92, 93. I don't know what it's like now in the Frontier League, but in the major leagues, every guy coming out of the bullpen is throwing 97 plus, and that was unheard of in Major League Baseball even back then. You had a handful of guys. So, the technology and sports medicine and everything has made the game more athletic for sure. But I'm kind of probably old school, growing up in the 80s and around the St. Louis era with Whitey ball and seeing base hits and speed and defense. That's always had my heart. So I can't say I'm a huge fan of the game now, but I'm still a baseball guy to the core. So I guess that just means you're getting old when you start complaining about how the young kids play it.
The utility position, like you said, you play multiple positions earlier. You think that is obviously a plus for guys to be able to play pretty much every position if possible?
Absolutely. I mean, the way I looked at it is, unless I am just extremely good at hitting or I am just a Gold Glove caliber guy at this position, if I wanted to keep a job, and I probably could have kept a job in professional baseball for a while longer if I wanted to, simply because I could play. I even played some center field in college. The more things you could do, heck, I would have been willing to catch. I mean, it's just the more things you can do, teams are always looking for a guy that can fill a role. It may not be a starting role, may not be a 3-hole hitter role, but they need a guy that can come off the bench and can hit left-handed pitching and play multiple spots. So if you can be real with yourself and say, you know what, I'm not a major league caliber second baseman, whatever, then yes, I think you're dumb not to try to be able to play every position. It just limits you if you don't. And
then also, especially for a lot of guys who are here at the independent level, for most of them, it's their first professional opportunity. And obviously their ultimate goal is to get into obviously affiliated baseball. But when you're on the field here at this level, do you try to even think about that or put that pressure on yourself, or you just go out there and just play your game and hopefully it'll come to you?
I think guys would be lying if they said they didn't. I mean, and I don't mean this bad. I don't think anyone playing high school, college baseball says, I want to be a River City Rascal for the rest of my life, or I want to be a AA player. Of course, everyone wants to get to the show, and you think I don't think I'm the only one. You scan the crowd a little bit to see, hey, is there any scouts here, or you listen to your teammates and chatters and stuff of who may be there and stuff like that. Evansville, with Jelks and the staff, then they did a good job of kind of focusing more on let's win as a team, let winning take care of itself. If you're good enough, somebody will see you. So if you wanted to stick with our group, you had to be team first. But, yeah, absolutely. I remember kind of what made me decide to look to kind of get on with my life is after making the All-Star team in 2005 and kind of putting together a really good first half and then still not getting any, communication from higher up. I was like, what, this is probably where I'm going to stay. Do I want to keep doing it or do I want to, finish my degree and move on with life? So obviously I decided the second, but yeah, I mean, in most of the coaching staffs and organizations know that the reason why people are in this league is to get noticed and to hopefully, because there have been some Frontier League players make it to the big league, so it's definitely possible.
Yeah, because I just see a lot of young players when they're first starting out. They might, like you said, look into the crowd. They might see a scout, and sometimes they try to put that extra pressure on themselves and try to take that extra big hack or try to put an extra little bit of velocity on their pitches, and sometimes it takes them out of their rhythm.
No doubt.
Just to finish out here, obviously this year it's been completely different. Major League Baseball will be, cross fingers, hopefully starting the next week or so. But for you, and obviously outside looking in, for a lot of independent leagues not playing this year, obviously the minor league season has been canceled. Could you even fathom or even take in what's transpired this year and imagine yourself going through that if you were still playing?
No, yeah, it's an easy one. No, my heart broke for the seniors this year. They didn't get to play their senior year of baseball, both in high school and college. And, I actually worked as a waiter, as a server at Logan's Roadhouse in Cape Girardeau in the off seasons. And, that's anyone that's ever waited tables knows it's not fun, but I knew there was always baseball to look forward to in the spring and all that. I couldn't imagine. I mean, and I'm sure you hear this with every player, the amount of time and everything you've put in from 10 years old to 20 years old, and to feel like now I can't go do that because of whatever reason. I mean, I'd have been miserable. I honestly don't know how I would have handled it psychologically, because it just crushes you. You almost feel like all that time and effort and work is all for naught. So my heart breaks for these guys. It really does. I loved playing in Evansville so much, and if they have that taken from me, those memories and everything we talked about, yeah, I mean, it is heartbreaking. I don't like to use a lot of expletive words like that, but it really is. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, as well. We all hope that eventually everything gets back to normal, and hopefully everybody's playing in 2021. Denver, I've taken enough of your time, and I really appreciate you joining me and kind of talk with me here for a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Pleasure's been mine. I appreciate it.
For former Evansville Otter Denver Stuckey, I'm Preston Leinenbach. This has been Otters TV.